Two bodies were found on Sable Island this past week after the inflatable boat that they were in washed up on the island. I think this is going to turn into one of those great sea mysteries where what exactly happened is going to be subject of rampant speculation. But I do think we have some clues into what happened. So, what do we know? From a release on July 10 at 3:15 p.m., Parks Canada contacted the Halifax Regional Police and the RCMP after a 10-foot inflatable boat washed ashore with two deceased persons on board. It's thought to be the lifeboat for a larger vessel named Theros. The remains are believed to be those of two sailors, a 70-year-old man and a 60-year-old woman from BC. They departed Halifax for the Azores on June 11th.
Well, we're away from the Nova Scotia coast now. We're 16.6 nautical miles from where we started, which is probably 12 miles inshore. And we're doing 5.5 knots average, so we're not doing bad. If the wind stays the same as it is right now, we're basically east-southeast, which would get us to the Azores. So we'll see. We're sailing away. One big ship on the horizon, and that came out behind us from Halifax, and so they're out of our way. We'll see. We're sailing.
And were reported missing on June 18th. The couple have a YouTube channel and a Facebook page, Theros Sailing Adventures, and we have identified them as Brett Sibley and Sarah Packwood, both of Salt Spring Island in British Columbia. The boat itself is a Gibbs C-42. It's a French design that ceased production in 2009. CBC has also learned that they were in last contact with family June 13th. Theros was expected to arrive in the Azores on July 2nd, and when it didn't arrive, a search was conducted, but nothing was found, and it was called off on July 4th. So the obvious question is, why didn't the vessel have an EPIRB? Looking at the MMSI number for the Theros, we can see that the vessel was equipped with a Standard Horizon fixed radio, Standard Horizon handheld radio, and a Class B AIS with a SART, a Search and Rescue Transponder. Little side discussion here about the difference between an EPIRB and a SART. An EPIRB communicates with a satellite to give your position. Ideally, they're mounted on the outside of a vessel with a hydrostatic release so that should your vessel sink, they will break free, activate, and broadcast your position to authorities who will then come out and look for you. A search and rescue transponder, on the other hand, basically emits an AIS signal that says you're in trouble. They certainly show up on my AIS display with a loud tone and a bright red circle indicating the position, but the problem with a SART is they're only good for VHF radio range, which at the best of times is about 12 nautical miles. So if there's no one close to your SART, then they can't see it. Also, if that SART was mounted in the boat, it's going to go down with the vessel before it can be activated. We also know that the Theros was carrying a Garmin InReach. A Garmin InReach is marketed as a satellite tracker and allows people to visit a web page and see exactly where you are. They're marketed to hikers and outdoors people and include an SOS button that allows you to summon for help. The Garmin InReach is a wonderful product, but much like a SART, it's useless if it gets wet, submerged, or goes down with the ship. An EPIRB will directly connect with search and rescue authorities and notify them that you're in distress. Manual intervention is required in the case of a InReach SOS. The other possibility is they did actually have an EPIRB, but it was mounted inside the cabin and therefore was unable to float free, and much like a fixed search and rescue transponder, went down with the vessel. So what happened to the vessel? It's safe to say that the Theros probably sunk. which forced the two crew members to abandon it for the life raft. Uh, I should also add that there's some confusion on this part because the release indicated that they were found in a 10-foot inflatable boat, which was believed to be the life raft. Um, the Theros has been photographed carrying a dinghy, as well. There is a life raft in a case on the deck. So if this is the dinghy and not the life raft, that tells us something completely different from if it is actually the life raft. Life rafts are also usually like red and high vis, which would hopefully have been spotted by searchers. So what could cause the Theros to sink? Well, their videos and Facebook posts give us some clues. Before they set out on the voyage, several modifications were made to the vessel. They added a large quantity of solar panels as well as a solid dodger to cover the cockpit at the rear. This adds a lot of weight kind of up high on the vessel. As well, they added an electric drive and a battery pack from a Nissan Leaf for power, removing the diesel engine. This also removes a lot of weight from down low, so this is going to have a big impact on balance and stability. Also, the surface area taken up by those solar panels and solid dodger are potentially going to have a big impact on how the vessel handles in strong winds and weather because they provide a large surface area for that to impact. The other concerning thing is that the ship is now powered by a battery pack taken out of a Nissan Leaf. The first question I have is, how is a Nissan Leaf battery pack available? Was the car in a collision? Could that battery pack be damaged? Could it have suffered from saltwater egress if there was a leak or it's down in the bilges? Car batteries are notorious for not liking saltwater, specifically electric car lithium-ion batteries. There have been instances where electric cars have been exposed to salt water and subsequently caught fire. Also, if this is a salvaged battery from a vehicle that was in a motor vehicle collision, then it's possible that it came with some damage and caught fire. And quite frankly, I don't think these two people would be capable of fighting an electric car battery fire on a vessel like that. The heat and conditions in the confined space would certainly be more than what the fire extinguishers on board that vessel would be capable of handling, and just physically being able to do it, I think that's unlikely. So it's possible that the boat capsized due to its modifications. It's possible that there was a fire. Likely the autopsies to be done on the two deceased will give us a better idea of when exactly they died and if there was any signs of smoke inhalation or anything like that that would suggest that perhaps there was a fire on board. Again, unless the vessel is still afloat and runs aground somewhere, it's likely we'll have no definitive idea what happened to it. We're going to be in a situation where two people ran into trouble at sea. No one had any idea that they were in trouble. And as a result, even if they were found in that search after July 2nd, they would have spent at least 2 weeks in that raft and likely succumbed to, lack of food and water. If you like this video, please hit the bell, be notified of future videos, subscribe to the channel. As this vessel left the Dartmouth Yacht Club here in Halifax Harbor, I'm going to be staying on top of this. I suspect the police will investigate as well. There will probably be a Transportation Safety Board investigation to look at what happened because this is really a tragedy, and there were clearly a number of failures. Thanks for watching.